Hey everyone, how are you doing tonight? And welcome back to another edition of Frugal Me Live, where we talk about all things related to your finances. What if I told you that you can pay off your debt and even your mortgage within 5 to 7 years? Some people do it before, some people it might take an extra year or two, but it's possibly in order to get rid of one of the largest debts that we will consume. And today, before we get started, I just want to give a special shout out to Keisha, who's working all of the technology in the background. So today we have sfleming, life coach, and also author of the book, Dad, How Does Money Work? And also Sly is going to tell us just some nuggets tonight on how you can pay off your mortgage within 5 to 7 years. Like I said, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. So how are you doing, Sly?
Fine. How about yourself today, Josh? Glad to be here.
I am doing great. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight on Frugal Me Live.
Oh, glad to be here. It's been a long time coming, but I've been watching you for a while, and I'm happy that you're putting good information out there and making sure that people are getting the nuggets they need to be successful in this thing called finance.
Awesome. So, Sly, can you just tell everyone a little bit about you and how they can find you?
Okay, well, a little bit about me and how they can find me. Well, it depends on why they want to find me. Now, let me stop joking. But a little bit about myself is I started out of school. I went to school undergrad as an engineer. I was an electrical engineer at North Carolina A&T. I did a couple years in engineering with some of the Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies. And then I realized that as I was an engineer out there helping people with multi-million-dollar projects, I needed to know more about money. So then I went back and got my master's degree and tried to figure out exactly what money was like. And then I realized that people really wasn't teaching too much about money in school. Yeah. So I took a job with like anybody else could. I went and became a financial advisor. I said, okay, these are the people that's getting paid to teach people about finance. So I went and got my series 7 to 65 to 63, the life and health licenses, just trying to absorb all the information that I could. Wrote a couple books, and then I worked for a couple banks as well. And then, I became a school teacher. Why? Because I enjoy passing on nuggets to individuals. And plus, it was the job that I could get. And the job is just over broke, but that's another segment. But it was something that I could do to be in front of young minds willing to learn, young minds willing to see things in a different manner. See, a lot of times when we're hit with age, as we would say, we stop dreaming big, we stop absorbing new information, and we start to get set in our ways about how things are. Now, how can people find me? Well, they can find me many ways. It's not like the bat signal, unfortunately. I've been trying to pay for that, but it's hard to get it where I'm here. I'm located here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, but if anybody want to reach me, we have a company called Inheritance Changers. The reason we call it Inheritance Changers is because if we can affect one thing that you understand and it changes your life, then you're going to teach it to your child, and your child's going to teach it to their children. And then what happens is this: you're going to change somebody's inheritance. This is what we call generational wealth. And we're going to be able to start something just by learning something and letting that multiply in knowledge, not in books, not anything, but one thing taught throughout. You can reach me on my website is www.icuchange.com. People say, why you say ICU change? Because once I see you change, the change has already occurred. Hopefully that change starts in the inside. And once it starts in the inside, the outside will show. So that was a long way to say who I am, but I'm a little older now, so I've been around a little longer.
All right. And also that all of that information can be found in, I'm getting some feedback here, but all of the information can be found in the description box below. So Sly, what was that eye-opener moment that you had that wanted to help people get out of debt, or to see people deliver people from the mindset of being in debt to that financial freedom piece?
Well, how sometimes it's almost like being in an airplane. They say save yourself before you save the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And coming out as an engineer, young man, and I was doing pretty well. I was doing pretty well as an engineer, and realizing that I'm getting more money, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how money operates. I don't know the mechanism that money has. This dollar bill said, "In God we trust," but when you flip it over, it didn't have any instructions on it. So it had no manual to come with this dollar that they kept giving me. So my neighbor and I, we were like, okay, we want to invest. We heard if you got a little bit of money and if life is going good, you invest. And we're like, okay, who do you invest in? And when we asked people who you wanted to invest in, you're like, well, you broke. So I don't know how you gonna do it. And everybody else who was wealthy wrote a book or did something. They didn't know me. They didn't know the struggles or the fears that I had about this investment thing that we had. So my neighbor and I, we decided we was going to learn how to do option trading. So we got in and we bought a ton of books. We read up on option trading, and I got real good at it and started teaching people how to do option trading. And then one weekend we made a ton of money over the weekend, and we was like, oh, this is wonderful. And then one guy who was in the industry said, you can go to jail for this. And I'm like, why? They said, you don't have a license to instruct people on investments, because you have to have a license, because there's a fiduciary responsibility when you talk about investments to people. And so in my mind, it was like, I don't want to go to jail. I just want to understand how this dollar works. And now once I found out, I realized the more you learn, the more you didn't know. Yeah. And my eyes open came in there like, boom, there's a whole nother world that they don't teach you in school. This is the other part. You got math, science, you got history, you got English, but there's no thing called personal finance. And if it is, it's somebody that don't understand personal finance. So when they teach you about it, they say, save your money. That's right. Make more, spend less. Mm-hmm. Okay. Those are some basic functions, but where's the algebra? Where's the trigonometry? You telling me the only thing I got to say is buy more and spend less, and I can be debt free for the rest of my life? You said the only thing I have to do is buy more, spend less, and I can live a good life. What? And then they forgot about one thing: willpower.
Yeah.
When you walk, and you've been walking in those same shoes for 13 years, and then you can taste the gum that you step on, and you can tell what flavor it is because you haven't bought any shoes because you make more and you want to spend less. They didn't teach you the power of this magical word called leverage. Mm. They didn't teach you about all of these things, that how money actually works. I tell people this is when you look at technology, and this is the engineering coming out of me. I say, in everything in the world, we use technology, except when we get to the finance piece of it. We say technology, okay, yeah. Think about this. If I told you had to cook by a match and a piece of wood in your house, you're like, I got a gas stove. Now I got an air fryer. I don't even have to use grease anymore because it's healthy. If you told somebody what type of car you drive and there's a Model T and I had to go out and crank it up, you say, no, I have a push button. No, push button. I moved up to the electric car. I plugged mine in. The video games that we had, if you would go back to the Atari, you had one button and you hit that button did everything. It jumped, it kicked, it ran, it flew, that one button in the joystick. Now you have virtual games. I put kids put on, they just disappear. I don't know where to go. But what I'm saying is, if you get to the finances and that you don't use technology like you're supposed to. You say, okay, I'm gonna get out my spreadsheet and I'm gonna try to figure it out myself. And there's technology out there. And that was the thing that got my aha moment, is when I saw technology working on my benefit to make me wealthy. See, the thing about money, your money needs to be working when you're sleeping. Mm-hmm. Your money needs to understand that sometimes it's okay to have leverage if I have my money doing some other things. Or think about this. If I have dead money inside of my house, why can't I use that dead money to have another house to bring me some more income?
That's so true.
And so what happens here is that we're using antiquated ideas when it comes to finances that we get lost. Or we say, before I put my first dollar in there, I need to understand everything. Now, I ask you this: when you put your key in the car for the first time, did you understand everything about that car? No,
I
you understood that you turn that
what?
key, right?
Yeah.
And you drove. Now, if I gave you a screwdriver and a timing belt and say, hey, your timing's off, don't worry about it. Just pop the hood and go get it.
Nah, Keisha wouldn't let me do that.
Keisha gonna say, look, we bought that car, don't mess it up. And so this is what I'm trying to let individuals do, is that sometimes you have to put yourself with the right technology, the right equipment, the right software or the hardware around yourself to benefit you. And so that's what my aha moment is, that when I found out that there's some things that I didn't have to be the all brain. I can hit a button. Aha, wow, it works.
All right. So this is probably the thing that most people are logging on and looking at this from the playback. How can I pay off my mortgage in possibly 5 to 7 years? How would somebody be able to do that?
Okay. Well, and that's a good question. Good question. When I first found out about this, it was probably, I say it was back in 1990. No. Let me not date myself. It was like 2007, 2009, somewhere in that area. And back then, I looked at it and I was a little nervous about it because, I had the financial licenses. I was the investment advisor. I was the guy in the room that knew more about money than anything else. But guess what? If somebody asked me a question, let me get my spreadsheet. Let me show you how to do this. Let me go with the old-fashioned remedies. Now, when I say get you out of debt from 5 to 7 years, most individuals, when you think of wealth, you don't think about the total picture. You don't think about my assets, my wealth, my liabilities, my expenses, my budget, my dreams, my goals. They're all the same piece of that pie.
Right.
So in order to be out of debt in 5 to 7 years, they have to work in concert. If I buy something for Christmas, I got to know how it affects me on getting out of debt. I got to understand getting out of debt is just a piece of that equation, because getting out of debt, if I don't build wealth in that process, getting out of debt just set me up to get back in debt again, because guess what? The cars only last 5 to 10 years. You're going to get another car.
Yeah.
If you have a house, guess what? You're going to redo the floors. You're going to paint. You're going to get another roof. If you got kids going to go to school. Kids are going to do some things. So the best thing that I always told individuals to do, and I'm talking about the wealth management. The best thing I tell people to do is you got to get an analysis. You got to sit down and see, where am I going, and where am I? You have to build that roadmap. Now, see, the thing about this roadmap, and I'm gonna go back to this car situation again. Back in the day, if we were traveling, I give you a map, and then if I get fancy, I give you an atlas. But now if I gave you an atlas to go to, say if I told you to drive the San Antonio, Texas, and I gave you an atlas, you can look at me crazy. What do we use now? We use a GPS.
Yeah.
We put it on our phones. We use Waze. We use maps. Whatever we use that GPS. So why don't we use the same type of format, that GPS, for our finances? That tells us everything that we're doing before we do it. Mm. If I'm buying a car, how does it affect my long-term financial goals?
Yeah.
If I'm buying a gift, how is it going to affect my long-term financial goals? If I'm paying something off, where do I pull it from? Do I pull it from my equity in my home? Do I pull it from my savings? Do I pull it from a credit card? How do I pay things? See, for instance, and I'm not talking, I'm going to feel like the head guy. I'm not only talking about it, but I'm also a client. I have 2 kids in college, and my wife and I both bought cars in the last 5 years. Before we purchased it, I put it in the system. Where do I buy this car from? Can we afford it? Where does the money come from? How does it affect our long-term goals of getting out of debt? I needed to know this before I pulled the trigger on anything that we was going to do. So what I would tell individuals to do is, and I think you would go put it in the link. I have a worth management link where it's, you can do your own analysis. And the beautiful thing about it is it comes with a written guarantee. It's going to do exactly what it says it's going to do. It's a GPS.
Yeah, and that's down. I believe I put it down in the description box, where you can also, by clicking the link down there, for those of you that's watching and also on the playback, you will be able to get a free a free digital book as well, I believe.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
And so it'll show you, not only do I want to get out of debt, I want to build some wealth. Not look at it this way. If I can build enough wealth become years doing what I want to do. If I don't have to go to work, if I don't have to go to a job because I built wealth, now my time is spent doing the things that I enjoy the most. My time is spent doing things that I love the most. Do you realize how people looked at me when I left a job as engineering to go teach? Why? Because my GPS said I could. My GPS said, you can do that. You still gonna be on target. And guess what happens? Now I have time to go out and be a baseball coach. I have time to go out and spend time with my sons. I have time to go out and take trips with my wife. Versus saying, okay, now most jobs say you got 2 weeks, but guess what? You got to ask somebody to take them off.
And even spend time with your own kids. I know.
Yeah, matter of fact, they said you got to work so that they can go to their kids' function. But guess what? Your kids and their kids go to the same school. Now your kid like, why is daddy? Your daddy working because your boss is here looking at his kids. So what happens is that GPS is something that, and I tell people this, in my time as a financial advisor for an unknown company, unmentioned company, the reason that I said the most important thing as a married couple, any couple, your biggest conversations are mostly around finance. Now, most of the time it's about, we don't know, we don't see, do you know how exciting it is when you get sit around finance and you see your goals being met? You see your dreams being accomplished. You see that the end of the road is not that far. Now instead of talking about how we gonna pay these bills, you start talking about dream homes. You start talking about vacations. You start talking about rental properties. You start talking about things that most people don't talk about. Why? Because they don't have the proper equipment to make it happen. At the end of the day, you just want the right equipment to make the right things happen. And that's what I tell individuals to do. Don't look at me to say, am I trying to say, look, it's funny. I love telling people about this because they look at me like I'm crazy. Because at the end of the day, I say, you can take it or you can leave it. It doesn't matter to me because I'm happy. Because at the end of the day, it's your future that you're trying to make. And if you're so good at doing it, why are we in this situation right now? I've always told individuals this, is that when you look at a doctor, and if that doctor don't believe in medicine, why you go take the medicine that he's gonna give you? So what you have to do is say, look, if it's not working for me right now, if I'm looking for a change, if I'm looking for an opportunity to see if it'll work for me, if I'm looking for something that's gonna give me a chance to be a little different, a chance to spend time with family, a chance to go out and enjoy life. Why not do it? Why not do it?
All right. So what are those? And I know there's only so much you can say here tonight, but what are those specific steps in minimizing your mortgage? Because, to think of that somebody can have a $300, $400, $500, $1,000 mortgage. And I love the analogy that you gave with the car, where the GPS will tell you the most efficient and quickest way to get there. But I know that when the bank, they're writing out those mortgages and coming up with those agreements, they're not going to give you the best and fastest way to get there because it's this thing called interest. So what are those steps in minimizing your mortgage? The most efficient and effective way possible.
I'm glad you said the word mortgage and interest. Those who understand interest make a living, make dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
Those who don't understand interest live nightmares every day.
Mm.
So when you look at mortgage, let's look at what mortgage means. Mortgage, if you break it down to the Latin word of it, it's a contract of death.
Mm-hmm.
So if you break the word down, it's a contract to death. See, a mortgage is what they call, it is back, it's upfront interest before you get to the principal of what you're paying.
Yeah.
And so the thing about this is, whenever you buy a home, you see they give you an amortization charts of all your payments and how much is going on principal, how much is the interest, all the way through the the 30 years or the 45 years. They even got 72-year mortgages. I don't know why they go do that, but I believe they believe contract till death. So what happens is that most individuals refinance their house every 5 to 7 years. Or they move, or they pull money out of their home. So the things first thing you have to do is you got to understand how interest works. And so understanding the difference between simple interest, compounded interest, mortgage interest, and understanding what the cycles are. That's the reason the GPS is so important, because if you really try to start getting into all of it, you won't have a chance to go to your job, because you're going to now become a financial person. So what's going to happen here is, there's many different ways that people say. Some people say, well, just pay an extra payment once a year. It's going to knock it down. Yes, it will. It will knock it down. I can tell you that. Some people say, hey, get the bi-monthly payment. It's going to knock it down. Yes, it will. It's going to knock it down. But both of those options is not going to tell you anything when life happens. Yeah. What happens when something comes up and your car breaks down? How does it affect? You don't know, because you don't have your GPS with you. You don't know because it wasn't part of that initial learning that you went through. So what happens is, as you figuring out, let's look at the software, how it works. Say, for instance, I'm paying in it and I got it, so I want to save $15,000 in savings first. In case anything happen, it's going to get me to saving $15,000 first. Then it start working on the mortgage. Now, or it's going to work on some other bills. It may work on my credit card first, because the interest rates are high. But what it is going to do, it's going to tell me what time, when to pay, and how much to pay. I'm not guessing, because like my old school, because I'm old school too. Old school talking about, well, if they asking me for $53 a month, I'm gonna pay $60 because I got $7 extra, and that's gonna knock down on that. It's gonna knock down the payments faster. Yes, it will. Yeah. But is it the fastest, most efficient way to get me out of debt?
Okay. Is it? So what is the fastest and the most efficient way?
The GPS. The fastest and most efficient way is by having a money merge account. The money merge account is a software that is put together that individuals can actually keep. It gives you alerts of what to do, how to do, when to do it. Okay. It tells you what your bills are. And the funny thing about it, it does not do anything but instruct you like a good client. Mm-hmm. It's your absolute number one financial advisor that you have. Me being a financial advisor prior, I use this tool for my clients. We would sit there and we'd go through it, and the most efficient way to build wealth is to also eliminate the liability side of the balance sheet. Mm-hmm. So by getting their own, you have to get your own analysis. You have to see where you are. You have to sit it down. You have to be honest with yourself. You got to ask yourself, do I have self-control? And or do you asking yourself, if somebody told me what to do? See, the problem with self-control is that we don't see the end picture while we making this decision. What happens every time that you made a purchase or a financial decision, you saw exactly how it affects you where you get into your goals. Yeah. Would it have an impact on the decisions that you made? Would it help you a little bit more to say, all right, I really don't need it, I want it, and I don't want it bad enough to knock me off of schedule? how would you feel? You know, I've done it several times for a car, and I'm getting close to get my house paid off. But the feeling that you get when you get the certificate that you own that car, and there's no more payments with it. Oh my goodness, that's unbelievable. Imagine that with your home. Now imagine that
freeing up like so much as well.
And now what you have now is the ability to go get you a rental home or a bed and breakfast, buy a corporate lease. Use that money now to grow wealth. So now that I'm not dependent on my time to make money, I'm not depending on my skill to make money. Now I have this a residual income coming in, not because of what I do, but for what I've already done. And that's how you actually grow wealth. That's how you use your mortgage to get ahead, because you eliminate your mortgage by having the right tools in place.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you're saying that there's a plan in place that is specific to everyone's situation, because I know not everyone's situation is the same. And whenever you when you pay on that debt, that it's a specific time or something like that you drop in, because the old way of thinking that I feel is like if I have a $1,500 mortgage, and if I say, yeah, I'm going to do $1,600, then that's going to save me 3 years. But what I'm hearing is there's a faster way to do that versus even throwing on that extra $100, $200. So is that someone that's, because I went onto the website before and I did the analysis and I went through everything, and they were saying, well, if you do this, you will pay it off in this much time if you do this. But not only was it just talking about the mortgage, it was almost like a debt snowball. So it was even talking about your credit cards, your car payments, any type of debt that you have. So what I'm hearing is, this plan includes more than just your mortgage payment, correct?
It does. Matter of fact, and I'm going to use an example for you. The one thing about it is you can always get a plan, but life changes. So you want something that's changing with you to keep your own plan. For instance, I had a client who decided he wanted to get a car. He was doing real well. He He had the plan. The plan said he can get the car. It's not a problem. He was due to get out of debt maybe like 7.1 years. Brand new house that he and his wife just purchased. It was a wonderful situation. He said, go get a car. That car only knocked him back to 7.2 years, so he was good. And it's going to be one more month to get that car that he wanted, and it was a nice car, so he was happy. Now, what happened 2 months later? His wife's car engine blows out. And so he has to get another car. And so he goes in this system, he gets another car, and it says, all right, it's going to take you back from 7.1 to 7.4 years. So 3 months, for 3 months, his wife can get a car. So, okay, not a problem, we get the car. 2 months after that, he finds out that his wife is pregnant with twins. And he's like, oh my God, this is killing me. So we go back in here and we looked at this, and he was happy about the baby, but he was scared because the baby was coming. He just bought 2 new cars, got a brand new house. He said, how are we going to do this? After that was 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago that this happened. And like, the funny thing about it is that when he put it in there, it was like, I said, it's not going to hurt you as much as you think it's going to be. And 3 years ago, right now, he's on pace to be out of debt. I think it moved it up to 8.5 years. I think he's on track to be out of debt in like 3.5 years right now. And like, so it ended up still around that 6-7 year time frame. Why? Because it moves with you. Life is going to happen. And see, that's what happens. Like, you ever get on a diet when you're trying to, like New Year's Eve and talking about, I'm going to lose 20 pounds and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to eat right. And that first month I'm lifting weights. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. That second month I walked past Krispy Kreme and the light was on. And I couldn't stop myself from getting one Krispy Kreme. But before I knew it, I had 4 Krispy Kremes and a glass of milk. And then after a while, I was working out too much. I got a cramp. So because I got that cramp, I need to rest a little bit. So I rested another month. Now it's June, and I'm the dude at the beach with the shirt on because I can't take off my shirt. What I'm saying is this: life is going to happen, and if you don't have anything there to keep you going, see what happens. What do the individuals that really need to work, that really want to get their body going? They get a trainer. They get somebody who's with them all the way to tell them the steps they need to do, when they need to do it, how they need to do it. Who's your financial trainer? This is what this is. This is your financial trainer. This is the opportunity for you to have that type of one-on-one customization to walk you through getting out of debt.
Okay. So somebody is out there, okay? And just very straightforward. If someone came up to you and said, how do I do this? Like, what steps would they need to take?
Get your analysis first.
All right.
That's like, not tell them, not be very frank with them. That's like going to the doctor and say, what drug I need to take. I don't know what your issues are. I don't look. Yeah, take this heart drug. Well, I had a back problem. Well, it didn't kill you. So the thing that we have to do is, I say, get your analysis first. And then my thing is this, and I say, before you get your analysis, my fault, analysis is step 2. Oh, let me go with step 2. First thing is you got to get your mind right. Because what happens is this, is that, you know, and I know you're not the person, but we all know that person that I Mr. or Mrs. Know-It-All and say, look, ain't nothing new under the sun. That's some trick. That's something over here. Well, if you look around and you're the only one broke and everybody else is walking around getting out of debt, maybe there's a tool. If you look at movie stars, how can a movie star lose 30 pounds and then gain 30 pounds for a role? Next thing you know, they got abs and 6-packs and everything. There is a trainer. First thing that you have to do is get your mind ready. I'm tired of doing things the old way. I'm looking for a new way. Get the analysis. Read the analysis. See if it works for you. Because it's going to tell you the truth. And look, the good thing about a computer, it doesn't have relationships. It doesn't care if it hurts your feelings. It doesn't care. It doesn't care if you like it or don't like it. It's going to tell you the truth. It's going to say, hey, with these numbers that you put in here, this is how long it's going to get you out of debt. So the third thing about it, I say, don't lie to the machine. You know, you be like, well, don't worry about that debt. I handle that debt on my own. That's like going to the doctor. Don't worry about that piece on my leg, because I just want you to work on my arm over here, because I don't trust you with my whole body. So I'm going to give you my left arm, but my right leg is throbbing, but I'm going to handle that before I bring it over here to you anyway. Sit there, get your full analysis, see what the workup looks like, and then believe it or don't. It's a choice. And at the end of the day, life is choice driven. If it's going to be a better life for you and it's able to be done, then if you decide not to do it, you choose the life that you're about to live. You choose to stay in debt. You choose not to have the things that you want. You choose that. And so at the end of that day, I let you choose your own path, your own destiny, because I can't choose it for you. I don't want anybody having virus more. Look at you. You done got me out of debt. It took me 8 years. I thought it was going to be 5. Well, it said 8.1. Well, okay. Okay, so it takes 8 years. What happens if okay, let's say it's terrible, and you're on a 30-year mortgage, and they say, I'm sorry, man, it's going to take you 19, we're going to get you out of 19 years. You're not going to have to spend a dime more than what you're spending, but by showing you how to revise and reacclimate your money, we're going to get you out 19 years versus that 30 years. Man, that ain't 5 to 7. Okay, yeah, it's not, but you don't have to pay any more money in it. And so, and it comes with a written guarantee. And so you'd rather pay 30 years than 19? Okay, all right, not a problem. You have a nice day. Because there was a guy that told me a long time ago, I thought he was mean when he said it, but I didn't realize he's so professorial. He said, if you're broke and you're happy, I'm happy you're broke. Because it takes a mindset to be broke.
Yeah.
It takes a willingness to be settled, to be broke. So if you're broke and you're happy, I'm not going to mess with you because I'm happy you're broke. And I thought he was me, but then I realized you don't want to drag and try to save anybody that don't want to be saved. So you're looking for those individuals that really want to say, look, I don't like debt. I don't like carrying debt. I have bigger dreams than just waking up in the morning, going back and forth. I got bigger dreams about where I want to be in life. I want my kids to go to college, and I don't want them to come out with debt. I want my wife to have the house that she desires. I want a kitchen where we can put meat in it and get to eat. And for the vegetarians, we get some good vegetables, fresh, organic. That's what, look, I want the good stuff. But in order to get good stuff, anybody ever notice how expensive it is to be a vegetarian?
That's so true.
You can go get a meal deal for $4. Vegetarian meal deal is $19.95. So the thing about this is that you got to be able to afford the things that you want in life. Why not use the technology to do it?
That is so true. I'm really going to encourage everyone just to go on the link in the description box below. Go check out Inheritance Changes. Go get your free analysis. And with that as well, that you get a free digital book that's also walking you through some of those guidelines. I know that there's a lot of people out there, and their one goal is to pay off their mortgage, is to get out of debt. And it's like one thing that I know there's a lot of people out there that believe in good debt and bad debt, but my thing is always that debt is debt. I never met a guy before who was happy because he jumped into a $500,000 mortgage. But you see him shouting and drinking and everything else whenever he pay that off. I mean, they have crab legs, ribs, chicken, and they have a good party when they pay it off. So don't put yourself in that mindset by saying, by me being $500,000 in debt to Chase Freedom and American in Distress and all of these other people, don't say that that's good debt because you're trying to justify you being in debt to those people. So it's one of those things. Make sure you go on and get, and the analysis is free. Like Sly said, if you go over there and you find out, like, you know what, I just want to be in debt. I'm happy by being enslaved to the big banks and corporations, go for it. But the thing that you really want to do, and why I really like Sly said about Inheritance Changes, that not only are you changing your finances, but you're building a financial legacy, and you're building wealth for not only just for you, but your children and their children. And so now we are now building generational wealth. So that's one thing that you always want to do is, in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, what will your children say? What will your grandchildren say? I want them to say that daddy, granddaddy, that he was trying and he tried his best and put out things out there, that we're living better today than we were yesterday, because it's like the old Chinese proverb that said, if you teach a man if you give a man a fish, that he will eat for a day, but if you teach that man how to fish, he will eat for a lifetime. And this is the same thing as whenever you start having that generational wealth, because it's a mindset. You got to have that wealth mindset and not that poor mindset. So I'm encouraging everyone today, just go out there and get your analysis. There's a link in the description box below. And if you don't like it, it's okay to say no. No is a word in vocabulary. But don't sell yourself short. Don't sell your kids' self short, or anyone else that's care about you because you didn't want to take the time to do something for free. All right. So I know we're a little over our time, but very quickly, Sly, is there anything else that you want to say before we go on and part today?
Yes, I'll leave people with this, and this is the sobering piece of it. A $200,000 mortgage at 2.9%. I say 3.9%, because I'm gonna say credit ain't great. Let's say my credit's not good. 3.9%. you end up paying over $423,000 over 30 years for a $200,000 house. Think about that. If I told you I was going to get a Coca-Cola for you, and it cost me $1 to get your Coca-Cola, but by the time I walk back, it's going to be $4.25 that you need to pay me for that Coca-Cola, you wouldn't do it. Why would you do it for your mortgage? Why would you do it for your well-being? And the last one, some individuals out here, you've been wanting to live life for a long time. You want to take a vacation and not just a trip. And some people don't know the difference. The difference is a trip, you go to mama's house, you eat out of mama's refrigerator, you sleep in the room you grew up in, and you only stay for the weekend because you got to be back at work on Monday. Or you go to the Holiday Inn and you upgrade so you get the double queen bed and you stay for the weekend, but you don't eat out like you want to. A vacation is where you go and you come back when you're tired of being there. You go and you stay in the villa with the private pool and you have the chef to cook for you because you don't want to go out and eat. You want to eat healthy, so that it comes with a personal chef. A vacation is where you go to truly unwind and you're not thinking about the bills that you have back at home. You're not thinking about who's watching the house. You're not thinking about what the kids are doing because you're there to unwind and you're going to stay there until you find peace of living. You know, stress is the biggest killer of them all. And one of the biggest seeds of stress is finance, not understanding what's going on, financial stress, financial damage, financial uneasiness, worrying about I'm going to a job I hate because I have to. I'm working at a job that I hate because I have to. The moment that you don't have to, it frees you up to find the occupation or the career that you love to. And it's not about how much it pays off. It's about the love of doing what you love to do. So don't look at me as just here's another financial guy that's coming out trying to get my money to get me out of debt. I never understood that terminology, but look at this. This is an opportunity to try to grab that life that you so much desire, that life that you so much want, and change what you've been doing. Because Einstein said this, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is practicing insanity. Don't be insane. Don't practice insanity. This is your chance to make a choice. Choose right, choose left in the matrix, the blue pill or the red pill, but it's your destiny once you choose that pill. And I thank you for letting me come out here and speak with your fans and your followers today. I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak over. It was a lot of stuff that I wanted to get to. I just didn't want to throw a bunch of numbers and technical stuff out. I wanted you to get to the heart of a decision. And hopefully that by hearing my voice and hearing these words, you can sit down by yourself, or if you're in a relationship with a spouse, you can sit down with your significant other and you can decide, okay, how do we build this future? It may be this way, it may not be, but at least we can get that conversation started and start moving forward towards it. So I appreciate that. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And Frugal Me has always been a friend in Inheritance Changes, and I appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing it. Keep reaching out to individuals, and you never know. Every time you go, there's a life that can be changed. And if you change that life, guess what you're doing? Now you Inheritance Changes. So welcome to the team.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much again. And I encourage y'all to reach out to Slive. And that way if you need a more specific, like I know that everyone's situation is different. So if you want to get more specific with your situation, it's free. All right. So thank you so much, Slive, for coming today. And for everyone that's here in the live and that's watching this on the playback, remember that being frugal is not about being cheap. It's about being resourceful. Have a great day. And thank